Hey, what up everyone? I'm Cool, and this is Gems of War. And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to try this out. You guys can let me know in the comments if this is a good idea or not. We do not have to do this again, but I just want to try something new. It's Wednesday. The Soul Forge doesn't have anything in there that I can really make a team about. I don't know. You know how I get an idea stuck in my head, and then I want to see it to fruition. So that's what we're going to do today, and that is beginner tips, the top 10 beginner tips, but there's a twist to it. So the biggest Gems of War video on YouTube is a top 10 tips for newer players, right? So I might call this the top 10 newer player tips or something like that, but it's beginner guide, basically, beginner tips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch this old video of beginner tips, and I'm going to update it for 2021 and give my opinion on it, my reaction, whatever you want to say. But there's 10 tips. I'm going to watch them, off video, off recording, and then every time I'm done with one, I'm going to come back on recording, and I'll, go over the tip and explain if it's still relevant or not, because some of them are not. It's not the person's fault. It's just a case of, this was 5 years ago. But you may have people searching Gems of War for beginner tips, and they might get this video, and maybe 5 of them are no longer relevant or bad information now. And it's not like I have videos that are like that. So it's not this person's fault. It's just, it happens in Gems of War. They update the game, they change things, and then certain things aren't true anymore, or aren't even in the game anymore, or are still relevant and still good beginner tips. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to, go over each tip and tell you if it's still relevant or not. And, yeah, we're going to start right now. So I'm going to watch the first one, and then I'll let you know if it's still relevant, and I'll explain, my own twist on it. I'm not going to do the same exact tip as they did, but you know what I mean. I'll explain my own tips about whatever it is. So, all right, I'll be back. Alright, you guys, so the first tip was in the options menu. Let's see where it is. Show, spell, and mana details. So this is still a good tip. So the first one is still a good tip. Still relevant in 2021. Show, spell, and mana details. You want this on. You want to turn this on as soon as you start up the game. As soon as you begin playing Gems of War. You do not want this off. I think it starts off. I'm not 100% sure anymore, but it doesn't matter. Either way, you want this on, whether it starts off or starts on. That was the tip, to turn this on, and I have it turned on. If you don't have it turned on, you need to turn it on. If you turn it off, check it out. And, come on. Yeah, let's take a long time loading right now. Perfect. But yeah, if you turn it off, look what happens. You don't even get to see how much mana each troop uses. So when you're in battle, it just kind of fills up, and you get to see, like, oh, it's like halfway filled, or it's 3/4 filled, or whatever. But when you're doing certain troops that need a certain amount of mana, or, hey, it gives half, or, hey, it gives this much, or 40% start, or 5 mana from Wall of Tentacle, or whoever. Sometimes it's a number instead of, like, a percentage. So you want to know the exact number that you're going to get. And it's stupid to keep this off. There's no reason to keep it off, and I don't even know why it's an option in the game. But yeah, I would turn this on first thing, if that's still a thing, which I think it is. Turn this on, and you'll get the numbers, exact mana, as you can see in the top left there, where the orb is with their mana color. Now you can see exactly the amount of mana you need, and it will tell you how much you need. So you don't want that turned off, basically. So that's the first tip. Still a good, relevant tip, and definitely turn that on as soon as you come into the game as a newer player, as a beginner. Alright guys, the second tip is do not disenchant. So this is going to be the first one where it's no longer true. Of course, not the person's fault. This was 5 years ago. It was true back then. But people could be looking up Gems of War, get the most popular video, and then they'll watch this video, and they're just going to believe everything in it because it's a reputable person, an expert at the game, but they may not see that this was 5-10 years ago, even though it looks way different on the screen, like doesn't have the updates or anything. So I'm sure they'll realize. I hope they would. But anyway, do not disenchant is the tip, and that is no longer the case. You can disenchant whenever you want because it saves 4 mythics. So what you want to do, let's go into one where I don't know. I'm going to go to upgradable for whatever reason. Arcturion, like I could upgrade this. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to show you that you can just disenchant all, and it's fine. Like, I don't need to be doing this right now. I don't know what I'm doing. But this is normally when I disenchant all, is when I'm upgrading troops, and then I just see that, oh, I can disenchant all, too. But disenchant all extra troops. This is what you would choose if you want to disenchant. You wouldn't do it just willy-nilly on whatever troop, but this disenchant all extra troops. Disenchant all extra copies of mythic troops. This is what you want to pick. I'll do it right now. It's not a bad thing to do anymore. So the tip that I would change it to, so the tip in the video was do not disenchant. That's no longer true. The tip I would change it to would be use this disenchant all troops option. Don't disenchant any other way. The only way you should disenchant is through this right here. Disenchant all extra troops. Because it will take into account that whether you have it at Mythic or not, whether you have the 4 extra copies, and it only disenchants things above and beyond that. So, hey, this is our first one that we need to change on this video. Do not disenchant. That's no longer a good tip. The new tip would be in 2021 to use this disenchant all troops option at the bottom here on the disenchant tab from the troop menu. So disenchant all extra troops. You can do this. It's no longer unsafe to do it. So yeah, that's tip number 2. Alright guys, number 3. The number 3 tip that was said was to, for some reason, go to Zal'Kari and complete Zal'Kari. That was the tip. To get Tyree, because Tyree is good at farming early in the game. This is probably not a tip I would recommend anymore. The game's different now. You can't just pick whatever kingdom you want to complete first. I think it goes in a certain order, so you have to complete the quests in a certain order now. And Zal'Kari really isn't that important, so I really wouldn't listen to this tip. Zal'Kari, the reason that they gave was to get Tyree so you can get treasure maps. So it's kind of funny. Treasure hunt minigame, no one likes this anymore. It's not a good way to farm resources. Neither is Tyree. There's better ways to get gold. There's better ways to get resources other than treasure maps. Now, I will say that treasure map early in the game is better than it is late in the game. You can get resources without leveling up your character. That way your PvP battles aren't harder. And it's okay, but it's not the greatest way. So I don't know if this should be one of the 10 tips for a beginner. So I don't know. What I would change it to is just do all your kingdoms quest lines. It's going to make you do them in a certain order. So just, get all your kingdom quests done. And that will open up all these things like arena and treasure hunt and all the mini games. Plus, you'll get all the classes available and just extra troops that you get for doing the quest lines that are good, like Rowan and Azura. Like Tyree is one that I think, it's one of the better ones out of the ones you get for free. But I think Azura's better, Rowan's better, Elwyn's better. But yeah, I think that tip was given because they want you to get gold and treasure maps to help you get resources. But there's other ways to do that now. You don't need to use Tyree anymore, like greed, skeleton key. I don't know. I have a soul farming team, gold farming team. There's other ways now. Join a good guild. Stuff like that is better than getting Tyree from Zal'Kari. So yeah, that one was just a little dated and not their fault once again, but I want to clear it up because the biggest video on YouTube about Gems of War and people could be watching this, and yeah, I'm going to keep saying that. So yeah, that one no longer a good tip, I would say. Nobody does treasure map. I mean, early in the game, like I said, you can, and you get resources without leveling up, and the bad thing about treasure hunt minigame is that it's not the same as the main game, so the skills don't really transfer. It's a different way to match gems. It's different. You don't even use your troops or anything. Like, I don't think it's that. I think it's terrible, and I don't like treasure hunt minigame. So I would never recommend you do that. It's going to train you to do things the wrong way, in a different way. You don't get to practice with troops. You don't get to play the real game. So, and it's just the rewards aren't that good and all this. And nobody likes it. Everybody has a million maps at the end game because nobody plays it, and they're trying to force us to play it. But yeah, that's not a good tip anymore. Don't listen to that one, I don't think. I don't think it's even relevant because you can't choose which kingdom and what order you're going to do the kingdoms anymore. I think they make you do them in a certain order now. So it's not even like a thing you can do anymore. Alright guys, so tip number 4 is to get to tier 1 in PvP every week. And I think this is a decent tip. Maybe not a top 10 tip, maybe, but it's an okay tip. It's not a bad one. It's not going to lead you astray. It's a good one. To get to tier 1 in PvP every week. You get glory keys as you rank up your tiers. And it's definitely something you could try to do every week. Does this Gems of War sound loud now? It sounds really loud to me. I hope it's not drowning out my commentary. I did have my headphones up really loud, though. Anyway, let's go through a battle. Let's see if I can win here with finesse. I don't know why I'm using finesse, but I like finesse, so... But yeah, getting rank 1 PvP every week is a good thing to do. It may not be the first thing I would recommend doing every week. Like, make sure you do your dungeons every day, your adventure board every day, stay in your guild, do your events. But PvP, you get glory keys. Glory keys will help you get troops and other resources, so it is a good tip. And, but see, as tier is going up, I don't even really do this anymore, to be honest, that much. So, it's not like as good as it used to be as far as the tip. But it's okay. Where does it show, like, where I even rank up? Trying to figure it out. Battle log, stats, casual, ranked. I don't even know where to check this anymore. This is embarrassing. Where do I check my rank or tier rewards? Here we go. So this is what you would get for ranking up. It's not as... early in the game, it's better because you're getting, you know, what is that? 35, 41, 49. You're getting 50, 60 glory keys, which could help you get more troops. You're getting glory, which can you can get trait stones and troops with, souls and ingots. And it's not as much as you can like do other things in the game and get stuff like this. And it's not like as good as it used to be, but it's still a good thing to do every week and something I would put on your list to do, you know, after you do a few other things. But yeah, try to do this every week, especially early in the game as a beginner. So yeah, still a good tip, I would say. Get to tier 1 every week in PvP by fighting ranked battles. You get a certain amount of points for every win you get. You rank up in the tiers. You'll know when you get to tier 1, and then you can collect all your rewards. You can collect them along the way, but I like to wait till I get to tier 1, so it looks like more keys. But yeah. That's still a good tip. Rank up to tier 1 in PvP every week if you can. Alright guys, so tip number 5 was to only spend your glory on the shop on the weekly event. So for me, that would be right here, weekly event, Quattro Manus. It's an okay tip. I don't know for sure. I mean, if you're early in the game and all you have is a little bit of glory, then yeah, I think I would agree that the first thing you would spend your glory on are these new troops every week, because you also get arcane trait stones, gold, glory, or gold keys, and glory keys. So for 400 glory, we're getting 2 glory keys, 10 gold keys, 5,000 gold, 2 arcane skull trait stones, 4 minor earth trait stones, and Quattro Manus. Which could be a good troop, could be not a good troop. Like this week, it's only like situational. It's not like you're going to change the game by getting that troop, but it's the trait stones and the 2 glory keys and stuff like that. Trait stones are hard to get as a newer player, so I can definitely see this tip being a decent one. As far as it being the only thing you spend glory on early in the game, I also would recommend, where is it? Where is it? The Spoils of War is pretty good. This is what I spend mine on every week. Event keys, you could end up getting 10 event keys for 1,800 glory, which I need to do every week and somehow forgot. Did I not show the glory shop on the... I must have. I must have forgot. But anyway, 10 event keys, which is really good. I mean, that's 1,800 glory, so that's a lot of glory. But that's something else that's pretty decent to get with glory. The only other thing you can really buy with glory would be... you know, glory keys, which I can't even remember how much they cost a piece, maybe like 20 a piece. So, you know, you could open 50 chests, and what would you get? So I got 1,000 gold, 40 glory. You know, I didn't get any arcane trait stones, but I got all these other troops, so I don't know. If you need like ultra rares and epics, and you already have the troop of the week, and you don't need the trait stone of the week, then I don't know if I would. I definitely think it's the first thing you should do every week. So maybe I'll change it to that as far as a tip. First thing you should do with your glory every week is go to the shop and get the spoils of war and the new glory troop, and then look at the trait stone, see if you need it for any troops that you're using at the moment to fully trait them, and go from there. But yeah, I think it's still an okay tip, just with a slight twist and, you know, a little bit more clarification. Back then, it was probably a great tip because there probably was it wasn't as good value or whatever, and there's not as many troops in the game. And you know, when I was a beginner, I was opening chests like a madman, trying to get good troops to make teams with, to get epics or ultra rares. So I was opening my glory keys. I was using my glory to, you know. But yeah, it is a decent tip to do that first every week. You know, go in the shop with your glory that you get from your guild, do the weekly event, get the new troop. It'll give you some other stuff like the Arcane Skull trait stones, which are kind of hard to get as a newer player. And maybe if it's the right trait stone, you can upgrade some troop that you use every day in a team, and you can fully trade it. And yeah, I let you know every week on my weekly preview, like what the trait stones are used for and everything. But yeah, I'd also recommend the definitely the spoils of war. You used to be able to buy unlimited amount of these, and now you can't anymore. So, and event keys are really good. They'll target specific troops. So I also go over this in my weekly preview every week, that what troops you can get with event keys, and better it's easier to get like legendaries and epics and ultra rares with an event key than it is to get with like a glory key or a gold. You can't even get it with the gold key. You know what I mean? So let's go to Whitehelm. These are the troops you could get with an event key. Of course, it costs way more to do the spoils of war. It's 1,800 instead of whatever the other one is, 200 or 300. But you can get troops like Guard's Avatar, which is a mythic. The Archdeva, a mythic. Legendary troops, 50% start. You know, stuff like that. Mercy, which is really good if you're looking for her as a beginner. Angry Mob, which is really good, that you can get right now. You know, the Paladins are decent early in the game. Templar. So you could get all those troops with event keys. So I don't know, just a slight tweak. It's still a good tip to use your glory in the shop on the new troop and the trait stone. It's a good way to get trait stones early in the game. So definitely still a good tip. Just, you know, a little bit more clarification for 2021 and some other things mentioned alongside of it. But yeah, still a decent tip. All right, guys, what are we on? Number 6, I think. The number 6 beginner tip, newer player tip, updated for 2021. The tip is to position your troops correctly when you're making a team, and the thing they're mostly trying to say is to your third slot is your most protected slot. So put your troop that you do not want to die in third slot. That's the most protected slot on the team, and that you need a back tank. So those were the tips, but mostly to like position your team correctly. So you want a tank in first slot. Most of the time, that's either going to be your hero or something you don't care if it dies, or something that has a lot of durability or a lot of attack. You want to put that in first slot. In third slot, you want your thing that you can't, if it dies, you're screwed. Third slot's the most protected. There are things that hit the back, but there is nothing that just hits third slot. You know what I mean? There are things that hit last, like third and fourth, but they're not like, you don't have to worry about them as much as other things. Like, if you put, of course, you're going to get skulls coming from the top down as well. So if your tank does die, it's going to start hitting your second troop. So that's not as safe as third slot because of skulls. Then the other tip was to have a back tank. You don't want to have something super weak on the very end of your team. That's not, you don't hide your weakest troop or your most important troop at the end of your team. That's not a good spot because there are troops that hit the back, the last troop on your team, like specifically, I don't know, what's a troop that does that? Let me see. I can think of one. Hold on. Well, like Knight Coronet, right? Where's K? Come on. Am I doing Whitehelm still? Jace. Clear filter. K, come on. Go faster. Come on, go faster. Game is being slow today. Knight. which is a troop you will definitely face early in the game too. So, okay, LMNO, Night Coronet. So it hits the does damage to the first enemy and the same damage to the last enemy. So this hits the first and last troop, but it's more important than you think to have a back tank. You don't want this troop dying super fast and then they start working on your third slot. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to put your most important troop in the second slot when your first slot will get crushed by skulls, and then all of a sudden your second slot's getting crushed by skulls. So anyway, the tip is third slot is where you put in your most important troop that you want protected and not to die. Like if you lose this troop, you're screwed. That's what you put in third slot. Whether it's a summoner or like your main damage dealer or just the thing that makes your team work, then that's where you put it. You put your tank in first slot. Your thing with the most highest durability, or let's say it has skull mitigation, like 50% protection against skulls, or maybe it has a crazy high attack, so you want to use the skulls against the other team. But you put a tank in first slot. Second slot maybe your off tank, but and then third slot you want to put your best troop, whatever it is. If you lose that troop, you're screwed. That's what you put in third slot. Could be a summoner, but yeah, most of the time you put your hero in first slot. Let's check out another team maybe. Like this team, I have my hero in first slot. I don't know. This team's a little bit wonky, but it shows you that like this thing is a tank, it's in first slot. My summoner's in third slot. This is a perfect example right here. My tank is in first slot. My hero is in third. It's a summoner and a mana generator. If we lose this thing, we're probably in trouble. And the Miraji Queen is my back tank. So, it starts with it gives everyone else 50% mana. That's its main job, and it does that. And if we lose it, not a big deal, but we don't really want to lose it, but it'd be better than, hitting our Jar of Eyes. So anyway, that tip is still relevant. Third slot's the most protected, and you want a back tank. Don't forget you want to definitely use a back tank, and you need to put your main tank in first slot. You don't want to put some really weak troop in first slot. You don't want to put some really weak troop in last slot. You want to bookend your team with tanks, kind of. And you put your most important troop in third slot. But yeah, that's still a good tip. And yeah. Alright guys, our number 7 tip for beginners in 2021 for newer players was to buy the dragon armor. Or to buy an armor. Save up for one of these armors. It'll help you in every single battle from then on. So you need to save your gems up for one of these armors. Don't spend your gems on anything else as a newer player at all until you save up enough to get you some armor. So you can get extra stuff from every single battle. As soon as you buy this armor, you get it. So first thing to mention would be if you're going to spend money on the game, the one thing you should do, I've never spent any money, I'm totally free to play, I have 0 VIP, I've never spent a penny on the game, but I have to say that if you are going to spend money on this game, the thing you should spend money on, the only thing you should spend money on, the first thing you should spend money on if you're going to spend money in the game, is the Death Knight armor, because it gives you 100% extra gold, experience, and souls. So if you're going to spend money on the game and you're trying to decide what to spend money on, that's the thing. That's how you buy the game, basically. You're giving them $50 for the game. You're getting 100% extra gold, EXP, and souls. So if you're going to spend any kind of money on the game, this would be the best thing to spend it on. And do it as soon as possible if you're going to spend money. If you already know you're going to spend money and you want to give them at least $50, do this as soon as possible so you're getting that 100% bonus as soon as possible. But if you're going to be free to play like me, you need to save up gems. And the one you want to get first, saving up gems, which means you got to save up like 500 gems. So you got to be patient, but you want to get this as soon as possible. Don't spend your gems on anything else. Get the dragon armor as soon as you can. That way you have 100% extra gold from everything that you do, and that'll help you stay in a guild, open up all your kingdoms, the delves and everything, gold chests, to get all the troops and resources, but mostly to get in a guild and, contribute to the guild tasks, and then you'll get way more resources, 29 other people together in a guild. It's way better than being by yourself, and this is the main way to stay in a guild, is to contribute to guild tasks. So this armor is really important. Make sure you save up your gems. Don't spend your gems on anything until you get this armor. There is an exception if you're just impatient, you're super impatient. You could buy one of these armors that cost a little bit less, but also give you a little bit less. So, you know, the Dwarven armor will give you 50% extra gold. The pirate armor will give you 75% extra gold. They just cost a little bit less. It's kind of like instead of saving up to upgrade in an MMO to like a really good sword, you're like buying the sword that's a minor upgrade and like kind of not, you're impatient. So if you're impatient, yeah, you know, buy one of these. Make sure you do one with gold though. Gold's more important in the early game than souls or experience. But they also said that they kind of pooped on the Celestial armor, which is no longer true. Celestial armor is pretty good. After you get the Dragon armor, that's going to be your next target, is the Celestial armor. You need that 100% extra souls for stuff like Dawnbringer and leveling up all your troops, and then that leads to kingdom upgrades and extra stats and all that good stuff. So it's definitely the second best armor if you don't, you know, count Death Knight armor. If you get Death Knight armor, if you pay real money, then you don't need to worry about any other armor. So this tip's only for people that are either free to play or not spending 50 bucks on the Death Knight armor. But yeah, still a good tip, just once again updated for 2021. Definitely get some armor as soon as possible. If you're spending real money, Death Knight armor is the way to go. If you're not, save up 500 gems, get the Dragon armor, then save up 500 more and get the Celestial armor. If you're impatient, do one of the other ones, but do gold first, basically. So yeah, that tip's still good, just with a twist. Alright, the number 8 tip, guys. It was to use your hero and make sure you level up your classes. I think that's what they were trying to get across. But yeah, make sure you use your hero with the class equipped in every single battle. I definitely still do this, and it's very important. I don't know why it's acting like this now. Ever since I turned off my mana and turned it back on, it's been being weird. But yeah, I use my hero in pretty much every team. Right here, I got my hero. So make sure you use your hero. It's the strongest troop in the game. Using my hero on every single team. I don't even have to look. I know I am. Look right here, my hero. Make sure you use your hero on every single team. That's a good tip. Make sure you're leveling up your classes. That's a good tip. Make sure you get all your class weapons leveled up. Some good classes, like there's class weapons for every single class. And if you equip the class and you get 250 victories, you get a class weapon for free. So you just have to equip the class and get 250 wins, and you get these weapons. I have a video on the top 5 class weapons in the game, so you could go watch that. I have a ton of beginner videos. Make sure you watch them, but we can look at some of these real quick. Like, Reflection of Good is awesome. If you get 250 victories with Archmagus, which is probably a top 5 class, equip Archmagus on one of your purple teams, get 250 wins, which doesn't take as long as you think. You can get it done in like a week, easy. And then you get Reflection of Good, one of the best weapons in the game. It's like so easy. So yeah, always use your hero, always have a class equipped, always be getting class experience. Definitely get all the class weapons and start with the top 5, which I have a video on. Start with those and get those first, those class weapons. There's some really good ones that are game changers, and you get them for free just by equipping a class and doing battles you would do anyway. So yeah, hero, use your hero on every team, use a class on every team. Make sure you're getting class experience pretty much every battle, and make sure you get all the class weapons, especially the top 5 that I mentioned in my top 5 video. So yeah, I have a whole playlist on top 10s, top 5s. I link it at the end of the video. I'll link it at the end of this one. You can look at those. It'll be very helpful to you beginners as well. So yeah, still a good tip. Use your hero on every team, use a class on every team, and level up your classes and get your class weapons. Okay, the number 9 tip, this might be the best tip in the game, is to find a guild. You need to find a guild as soon as possible. This should be the number 1 tip, I think. You don't want to be a lone wolf. I'm saying it all the time. I rant about it all the time. I used to think I wanted to be a lone wolf. You do not want to be a lone wolf in this game. You want to find a guild as soon as possible. Look at this guild event here, and look at the rewards that I'm going to get just for contributing. Like, I'm going to get major orbs of chaos. Okay, 12,000 gold, 2 orbs of chaos, 25 diamonds, 1,100 souls. Like, collect. Watch. 30 gems, 25 diamonds, 900 souls, token of kings. Just for contributing. Guild tasks are super important. Well, let's show me, like... Guild seals are important. You can open chests and get really awesome things out of the chests. Like, I can get mythics right now out of the chest just from being in this guild. But yeah, the tasks. You get a bunch of good stuff from these tasks. You just contribute gold. Let's do one. Where are we at here? Everybody's contributing to this, and everyone gets the rewards. So if I do this right now, everyone in the guild gets the reward. So if I complete this, contribute, it sends that out to everyone in the guild. So 29 other people are doing that, giving you stuff that you can go and collect in your mail. So guild task reward. I just got that stuff, and someone else might have given that gold to the task, and then I would have got that. Everybody in our guild just got that, just because I did that right there. 29 other people just got all that stuff. Right? There's events. There's guild events every week. You get stuff from this, like I said. The guild tasks every Monday, Tuesday. You're going to get all that stuff. There's stats that you get because of the guild tasks and being in the guild. +4 armor, +4 armor, +2 magic, +4 health, +3 attack, +4 armor, you know? Like, you get stats, you get all kinds of good stuff. It's 29 other people contributing 29 times your resources now. It's easier to get mythics, easier to get legendaries. You get guild seals. And I could go in here and open up, you know. I don't want to do it because I'm saving up for mythics, but let's just do one just to show it. Hey, it's a video. Skip. Look at that. I got a legendary. So you could get a legendary. You can look at all of these epics I'm getting. You guys are probably dying for ultra rares and epics, and look how many I just got just by opening just one. So yeah, definitely join a guild. I think it's the most important tip in the game, because if you're trying to be a lone wolf, you're barely going to get anything. If you join a guild, that's 29 other people. Also, alongside of that, good tip would be don't ever get stuck in a low-level guild. Don't be the one doing everything in the guild, okay? Don't leech off a guild either, though. Like, there's a spectrum. You don't want to be a leech, and you don't want to be the only one doing stuff. So find a guild where everybody in the guild's doing at least the same amount, or as much as you're doing. So if you're giving, let's say, 50,000 gold every week, make sure everyone else is giving something like that. If you're giving 500,000 gold every week, make sure everyone else is giving something like that. Don't be the only one in the guild giving gold. Don't get stuck in a mid-tier guild just because you have like a couple friends in there and you're afraid to leave your couple friends. Like, don't be in a guild with like 5 active people just because you like one of them. You know, just say, hey man, we should leave and go to a guild with 29 people doing stuff instead of us 3 doing everything and people leeching off of us. So yeah, always look for a better guild. As soon as you start the game up, go find a guild. The best place to find it would be the Gems of War forum is the best place. You can also look on the game. They'll point you to a guild. It's not as good, but yeah, I would go to the Gems of War forum and just say, hey, I'm looking for a guild. There's the guilds that are looking for members post on the forum. You can go in there and say, hey, I'd like to join. They might have some sort of requirement that you have to do. Like my guild has our suggested weekly targets, 500,000 gold, 1,500 guild seals, 300 trophies. So that's pretty casual, but we're also a top 25 guild on PS4, so it might be less than that, it might be more than that. It's whatever you're comfortable with, but make sure you're pushing yourself and always trying to get into a better guild, you know, and definitely join a guild as soon as you can when you start up this game. Very, very, very important. Probably the top tip ever. So yeah, still a good tip. Definitely join a guild. Okay, and this person's a #1 tip for new players, for beginners, which they didn't mention taking your tribute, which I would definitely mention, but their #1 tip in the game was to play the treasure hunt minigame. Play the treasure hunt minigame. Most people these days hate this. No one plays it. It's terrible value. Especially the further you get in the game. As a beginner tip, is it a terrible tip? I would say it's not a terrible tip. I'm sure this person would look back on this video and laugh at this being their #1 tip to play treasure hunt. But, you know, as a top 10 beginner tip, I don't think it quite makes the top 10. But it could be maybe a top 25 tip or something for beginners. You do get, you know, you can get gems from here. You can get glory. You can get keys. But it takes forever to get this done, and like, and the value you get, like you'll get 1 gem sometimes from completing them, and I don't know, man. It's just, I don't think it's that important to be the #1 beginner tip for newer players. I don't think playing treasure hunt and wasting time on this game mode It should be the #1 tip. And like I said, this is a video from 5 years ago. It's not like, you know, the person was wrong or anything. They were right at the time, but I'm updating this for 2021. Should you play treasure hunt minigame as a beginner? I would say yes. There's probably other things you should be doing instead, but it's not a terrible thing to do. The best time to play treasure hunt is as a beginner, yes, but I don't think it's like the #1 beginner tip ever. Like, that's my point. I don't even think it would make the top 10 for me to play treasure hunt minigame. But, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny. That's the #1 tip for beginners on the most viewed video of Gems of War ever. And I thought I would update it a little bit, let you know that, hey, you need to kind of look at newer videos instead of always doing the most viewed video. Because it's older. It's 5 years old. Like, you could look at some of my videos from 4 years ago that you could just laugh at now. But that's how Gems of War is. It's always updating, always developing, always different metas. Some things you say 3 years ago are no longer true. You know, the old gold farming teams, the old soul farming teams, there's new ones now. You got to always keep looking at the newer videos. We update them as we go, so... You know, I just wanted to look at this, you know, the most viewed Gems of War video and, like, do a kind of reaction and update to it and, you know, my own take on it. And that's what this is, and I don't know what you guys think about it. Put your comments below. I can maybe never do this again. Or I could do it for, you know, the #2 video on Gems of War, maybe, or something. Like, maybe we could start this as a series. But, yeah, it was to do treasure hunt minigame, the #1 tip for beginners. I don't know if I would put that as my #1. Or even in my top 10 at all these days. Treasure hunt minigame, it's okay. If you have nothing else to do at the time, yeah, I guess as a super early beginner, you don't level up. You can get gems and keys from it, but you're going to do this whole map, and you're a beginner, so you're probably not going to do that great at it. Like, I could do my best at this and only get 1 gem. Like, I'm a level 1300 and something player that's been playing this game for 4 or 5 years. I could try my hardest on this map and only get 1 gem. And it could take me 15 minutes. So, you know, it's not quite worth it to me to everybody hates this. Everybody hates the treasure hunt minigame. You know, the further you get in the game, the more you hate it. So, I don't know. That wouldn't be one of my tips, a #1 tip. Maybe take your tribute every hour. That's one I would say instead of this. You can get way more gems by making sure you take your tribute every hour than playing this treasure hunt minigame. So, yeah, I think that would be my replacement for that one. Instead of playing treasure hunt minigame as a beginner, just make sure you take your tribute every single hour. It doesn't accumulate. You have to take it every hour. And you get gems based on how many tributes you get from how many kingdoms. So make sure you upgrade your level, kingdom, and power and everything so you can get more tributes. But yeah, take your tributes every single hour. That's what I would say is my #1 tip. But yeah, treasure hunt as the #1 tip, I don't think so. But yeah, that's my video. Like, share, subscribe, consider joining. It helps a lot. Tell your guild about the channel. Comment below. And I will see y'all next time. Let me know what you thought about this video. I mean, there's a lot of people watching this one, and they may be getting a couple... There was 3 or 4 of them in there that just aren't good anymore. And like I said, not the person's fault. Totally don't want to... You know, they know what they're talking about. So go watch them now, and don't watch their super 5 years old video. But yeah, talk to you guys tomorrow for the class event. Peace.